profoundly with people that we're interacting with, that we're used to interacting with daily. It affects our community relationships. It affects certainly on a bigger scale, you know, dare I say, a national level, on a global level. And then on the intrapsychic level out in the world, like in that headspace where we all just feel vibes and stuff, there's a lot of things going on that might cause a person to question, oh, well, how can I feel gratitude or thankful about what's going on? I've got to deal with this. I've got to deal with this. And then there's this. So if a person says in the first person voice, I am thankful for, right? And you say anything, you know, I'm thankful for these glasses. If I got to put something on the screen, at least I got glasses to put on and see it better. It can be very simple. It can be, I'm thankful for the friendship of Curtis. I'm thankful for this new friend, Chris, greeting me with a smile and inviting me onto his podcast. So the tools about gratitude is a state of mind that is manifested through an action. The interesting thing about gratitude is I can't hand you a cup of gratitude. I think this is what, a 12-ouncer, and I've tripled it, right? Because I'm trying to, you know, give it some weight. And, you know, but you can sense my gratitude in my appreciative attitude. So if I pick up a tool that's out in the world, like I really dig the color green, man, it's my favorite color. So let's say I'm thankful for this green pen, right? And I say to you, yeah, man, I'm thankful for this green pen, right? And you go, oh, that's cool. He's thankful that he's got a green pen. Now that's making it real out in the world with our voice and your acknowledgement. If I take this other tool, it's called a piece of paper. See that right there? It's old school. It's like analog situation. You know what I mean? It doesn't involve one of these things, you know, like Bluetooth keyboard. So dig, man, I take my pen and I take my paper, right? I got analog tools and I write on here, I am thankful for my green pen. And everybody goes, why am I tuned into this podcast, man? This guy's writing on paper about his green pen. And you start questioning it, right? Well, that's normal for human beings to do that, right? So if I do it like this, and I put an exclamation point and a question mark and then another exclamation point, and I share it with you, I've made it real. I've taken an action to demonstrate my gratitude. So it still doesn't, something you can measure, right? The only way we can measure gratitude is a feeling in the room, which is the context we create. And dig, man, in a COVID universe, sometimes we can't even be in the same room together. So I have to radiate gratitude and thankfulness in my behavior towards other people, right? With a sincere thanks for having me here, sincere thanks for having a friendship with Curtis for all these years, sincere thanks for my new friend, right? And hopefully affecting. So what attitude of gratitude can I manifest in my behavior? A funny story. In our spiritual fellowship, there was this woman that at 11 years into the fellowship, after burning her life to the ground, she came into this fellowship, right? She got her act together. She was relieved of this situation that she kept creating with drugs and alcohol. And after 11 years, man, she got a lot of stuff back. Her life was great, but she just was not happy with anything, right? She wasn't happy with her job. She wasn't happy with her relationships. She always wanted more and more and more and more and more. I want more of this. I want more of that. I want better guy, better job, better car, whatever, more fun, more and more and more, right? So she got herself so wound up in the early days of cell phones that the car kind of did something where she ended up teetering, right, on a not on a cliff or a bridge, but it was a crisis situation. Right? She spun out or something, the car went like this, right? So dig, now she's sitting on this thing in the driver's seat going, this isn't working out for me, right? Here I am 11 years into this new spiritual journey and I'm almost put myself over whatever this was. I think it was like an embankment, right? Mm-hmm. Regardless, it wouldn't have been fun if the car would have gone that far. So she got towed out and stuff. So she talked to her mentors and her friends and stuff and her brain trust and everything, people she likes to check in with, right? And those are things you can be thankful for, people you can check in with, right?
Oh yeah.
And they said, well, maybe you need to go on a quest, right? So she said, all right, I'll go on a quest. Where do you want to go on a quest? She goes, I've always wanted to go to India. This is a true story. So dig, man. She goes to India, man, on her own dime, takes some time off of work. She's on this spiritual journey. She's been in Southern California. She's been in Colorado. She's been in there, all over the States doing her work and stuff. She goes to India, right? She's on her journey and she's just following them, whatever they call it, the Dharma or the Muse. I don't know about Hinduism. Talk about it, but you just go and you start looking and you start saying, hey, I want to meet some spiritual masters or whatever, right? People go, you got to go to that town, you got to go up that hill. So she finds herself in the foothills of the Himalayas, going up a mountainside to go to this cave to meet this dude, right? And this is true. And she says she's getting cold. She's like, uh-oh, I'm in the elevation, don't have the right clothes, but I got to get to this guy's cave. She gets all the way to this guy's cave, right? And she sits down in the cave and he looks at her. And before she says anything, he just looks at her and he goes, what you need is an attitude of gratitude. So she went all the way around the world, halfway around the world, to hear a cliche that is spoken frequently all over the United States, all over her spiritual fellowship. She went, oh, okay, all right. So the point is we're all looking for gratitude. We're all looking, for this. And how do we manifest it? How do we be it? How do we measure it? Well, I think we do it in our behavior to other people by demonstrating it in how we treat people is a big way, is what I think. If I'm sincerely gracious to you and thankful that you're having me on here, I'm going to be on time, right? Which we skated just under the wire because there was computer situations,
Right.
but we got in on time. That's how we treat people with respect. It's a way of demonstrating gratitude. Returning kindnesses, right? The Native Americans say you honor the site, right? You leave a place better than you found it if you're out in the world, whatever that means. So if you take that principle, or the First People's principle of honor the site, if I'm going to get in your car, I'm not going to leave my stuff around, you know what I mean? The detritus of my life. I'm going to pick up after myself, right? Maybe pick up a little bit of your stuff and put it in the bag and throw away too. That's a gratitude, just demonstrating gratitude for letting me ride your car. Now, I'm human, so do I drift out of that mindset? Constantly, all the time. Where's mine? Give me more. Why didn't she? Why didn't he? Why didn't they? What the hell happened 3 Tuesday nights ago? What was that? Whatever, I drift out of that thankfulness, especially in our current climate. And I think it's also okay to be human and to feel those feelings of an absence of gratitude, right? So if we're looking at that, we can start to look at that too and talk about that. Like everything has its equal and opposite reality, positive, negative, all that simple stuff, yin yang, we all know that. So if we know what the opposite of gratitude is, then we know when we're drifting into that, right? Because maybe there's a gratitude switch in the soul that you control and go, oh, I'm in gratitude. Woo-hoo. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. So maybe some people have to slowly slip into it. Most people are really thankful when they look in the eyes of their children and their loved ones, or they think about them, right? So that's my kickoff for gratitude with my little story about that person that went to India to find it.
I love that, Paul. Thank you so much, man. I was doing my best. I'm doing better about listening and not wanting to think of questions. And I was doing my best to stay in there, but I wanted to say that I'm so with you about gratitude being a choice. And basically, I was doing writing for my book, and the idea was bottom line is the world could literally look like it's pushing you up against a wall to be ungrateful. It's literally yelling at you to be ungrateful. It's pushed, it's forced you. You could feel like the world's just saying, you have to be ungrateful, But the cool thing about gratitude is, again, it's a freaking choice. And that's the beauty in it, right? If it wasn't a choice, then what's that, right? So it's a choice, and it's a choice we get to make in spite of all of the ugliness that could be in our face, in spite of all of the sadness. It's a choice. It doesn't mean we always choose it, like you said, but the reality that we know it's a choice is it allows it to, it's a superpower.
Nice. How do you feel, Curtis, about
good? It's funny. You were mentioning this woman and her trip around the world to find this spiritual guru that just said, be grateful. And I believe that I've heard her say the same thing in the same forum. So yeah, I just think it's just like, it's just proof that it's a universal truth, that like it's like part of a huge part of the path to the light, for sure. And I want to walk in the light all the time. I don't. But I know that, like, if I'm spinning out, which I kind of have been the last couple of days, because my spiritual program that you and I are part of, Paul, like, if I don't maintain it on a daily basis, my fucking head goes crazy. And like, the quickest way to get back to the headspace that I like to exist in is like gratitude lists, or express gratitude to someone, tell somebody what you're like, why you're grateful for them, or like something they did for you at any point in your life, like that you're grateful for. Or, you know, you mentioned like looking into the eyes of our children, and it's really like last night, for example, you know, I was like dealing with re-entry into Florida from California, where I've been for 3 weeks, where California is where I feel most at home, without a doubt. Like, everything about it aligns with who I am and what I'm about. And Florida, you know, doesn't. So I got off the plane and was just kind of on edge, to put it simply. And you know, my daughter texts me, she's like, are you home yet? And like, it's the simplest things with our children, that with my children anyway, that put me in gratitude immediately. Because in regards to what we talk about here, and sobriety and gratitude, like, there was a huge portion of their life that I was there, but I wasn't there. You know, I wasn't able to show up as like a sober father. I wasn't able to be present. It was like, I have to work really hard in self-forgiveness, as far as like how absent I was early on, even if I was in the same physical space as them. I remember like really like, you know, it's hard for me to talk about this stuff, because it puts me like straight into guilt and shame. But I think that also talking about it is how I am able to kind of let go of it and move on from it. So there were like, you know, there were times that I would give anything in the world to have back. Like when they were feeding bottles, like if it was my duty, which it was rarely, because I was just like in outer space somewhere, to like give them their bottle, I would like try to find the easiest way to lay them down and prop their bottle on a pillow, and not like hold my children. And it's really tough for me to think back on that now. And I'm like, man, you know, that could have translated to so many different ways of shitty parenting on my part at this point in my life. If I was even still alive, which if I wouldn't have got sober, there's absolutely no way, 100%, that I would not be here on this earth, in this plane right now, talking to you guys. So I guess where I'm going with that is, yeah, the kids immediately put me in gratitude. And it's cool that it's muscle memory for me now, thanks to like a lot of really hard work and like working on the hard wiring in my brain that was once like defense mechanism. Like the wiring in my brain at one point was, okay, I'm stressed. It's like stress pill, drink, blow a line, whatever, eat some, whatever I was doing, you know, like, and now it's like, all right, I'm stressed, be aware of the feeling and work through it. Where it begins, you know, it's like, for me, it's like, all right, everything is not falling apart, even when it seems like it is. Sometimes it really feels like it is, but it's like, all right, what am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? and then it like resets me as far as like being able to be present. Because when you know, and I think Chris, you and I talked about this last week, like when we're practicing gratitude, we're present. We're 100% present. If you are here and you're in gratitude, you are with it. You are in it, and there's really nothing else that I mean, there's scientifically there's nothing else that could be going through your mind. But I'm just kind of you know, that was, I don't know where I was going with that or what the question even was, but yeah, it's as far as like parenting, and I go back to that a lot, and we talked about this a lot last week. As far as like gratitude and sobriety, the parenting thing is hands down like the greatest gift, and what I'm most grateful for, and the healing that my family has experienced through sobriety and recovery, and what we're able to, like the baseline that we used to have versus what we have now, and the experiences pre-sobriety and the experiences now. And it's just really, I'm super grateful. Everything I have to be grateful for at this point in my life is a result of my sobriety. And that's like, no questions asked. Without my sobriety, I don't have anything else. And that's the bottom line, like without question. So it's, you know, I'm a firm believer in all of this. I'm a firm believer in that gratitude is contagious, and talking to people about it, then they're talking to more people about it, and it just snowballs. And then like, you know, you can shift the energy, and you can change people's lives really. And it's just the level that I want to vibrate on as a human is in gratitude, which is one of the highest vibrational frequencies that you can have. And again, in turn, I'm bringing in other high vibrational people into my orbit. So it's kind of where I'm at right now.
That's so true, man. And it's a great statement to make with the three of us sitting here, right? I mean, it's just what it is. We're into gratitude, we get gratitude, and we get together and we all vibrate together. And there's nothing like it. There really isn't. You know, going back to what Paul was saying, you know, obviously it's really great to have a gratitude list. I completely agree with that. I think having a gratitude practice, the journal, I think the physicality of it is a really nice thing. And obviously having the ledger is a really good step. But, you know, this week I've been thinking about, obviously it's great to be grateful, but it's also amazing to be able to create a space for others to be grateful. And this is what I was thinking, right? There's a lot of ways to do that. So for example, quite simply, when you're kind to somebody, you're creating an atmosphere of gratitude for the other person to find or not find. But when you're kind to somebody, that happens. You're actually breathing, you're being like the breath of gratitude in the space just from being kind or being present to somebody. So it's very, I was thinking about how cool that was, right? There's like this, there's two different ways you can go at it. There's obviously I can share what I'm grateful for, but then I could talk to Paul and say, you know, I could either be kind to Paul, or I could even straight up say, so Paul, what's going on good in your life? You know, like share some gratitude, you know, share with me, because I'm interested, you know, some things you're grateful for. And then that creates a space for that to come up. And that both of those things are really exciting, but I've never thought before about creating a space for others, how to, you know, different ways to create spaces for others, because we're practicing gratitude when that happens. You know what I mean? You're literally, that's a practice, but you're actually have to be with someone else to do that part of the practice. So I've been thinking about that this week.
That's a very provocative perspective on things, like how can you empower someone else to be grateful, or how can you create the feeling in the room, the context, so that their content is grateful. That's very cool. I like that. It's a very interesting way of looking at things. One of the things that professionally I do is, prior to COVID, I was teaching narrative songwriting in the California penal system. I was teaching at California Institute for Men, and one of the yards I was on, all of my class, 20 to 25 guys, Wednesday mornings at 9:30 a.m., were what are called LWP, Life Without Parole, right? So we would split them into groups of 5, and we would give them a theme to write a song about. And the groups became very organic and very self-supporting and very self-nurturing, and they would generate a narrative and some sort of performance of the song, because there were enough, musicians present, rappers, poets and stuff. And you talk about a demonstration of, you leave a place like that, right? After an experience like that, you get out into the real world, and just to be thankful to have the freedom to come and go as you please becomes right here. Like it's literally right in front of your face. How when you listen to certain records, the vocal is right here. Like when you listen to a Tom Petty recording, he puts his voice right here. Other people might put it off or, make it beautiful with reverb or anything. But Tom Petty had a way of being so intimate with you when he sang. Patti Smith is that way, right? Experiences with humans can be that way too. And another way to create, like in that kind of situation, man, those guys, and I'm no saint. And the other thing is I'm no expert on anybody else's life. This is really important that I articulate this to whoever's listening and to myself and to you guys. I am certainly not an expert on anybody else's gratitude or how to get gratitude or how to manifest it or how to create it, how to experience it. And that's really, really important. There are many paths, one destiny. I'm no expert on anybody's struggles with anything, whether it's drugs and alcohol, relationships, career, COVID, whatever, the current national climate. I know what I've done, and I know how other people have helped me see what I need to do. So in that light, one thing I have to say is that from our context, I don't know who's listening to this right now. I don't know how diverse our listeners are in this podcast, or who's going to listen to it further on down the road, or who's watching on Facebook now. But I got to tell you one thing, even though things are a bit wonky right now, like quite frankly, we're in the middle of a bizarre-a-thon. It really
That's
is.
a good way to put it.
Yeah, there's
Bizarre-a-thon.
Bizarre stuff going on. Like, it's a bizarre-a-thon. It's like, a marathon running. Well, this is a marathon running with a bunch of bizarre things on every systemic level, right? It's affecting everybody. What's going on in the world right now. We got to remember that probably statistically, it's safe to say that 90% of the people in the world don't have a car. There's about 7.5 billion of us right now. Pretty safe to say half of them are going to get by on about $2 worth of resources today. And that's going to manifest their food for them, their rice, whatever, their sustenance, right? There's entire populations that are really, really worried about where they're going to get water for their kids tomorrow. And I'm not talking about the homeless guy just down the street or whatever who's worried about his next meal. I'm talking about populations, man. So we also have to understand that for me, I'm not projecting this on anybody else. I'm talking about me. When I get stuck in where's mine, I'm afraid of losing what I got. I'm afraid of not getting what I want, right? Where's mine first? Let's set that one aside. If I'm afraid of losing what I've got, that means I'm holding on to something, right? If I'm afraid of not getting what I want, that means I'm projecting out of this moment, right? And if I'm in those headspaces and I don't demonstrate thankfulness for the fact that I have running water, most of us listening to this podcast probably have a car. If you don't, you can probably get a Lyft or an Uber. If you're challenged right now for that, I don't mean to dump on you either. I'm expressing compassion for this, right? If you are one of those people that doesn't have personal transportation right now, there are people in America right now that are challenged for their water, right? Is it clean or not? Look what happened in Michigan recently, right? So we got to remember, we have to think globally too, not only about what's going on right here in this room right now with these other two guys, right? So that's really helpful too, to remember that and to express thanks for that. And then strategically, okay, how am I going to put my money where my mouth is? How am I going to walk the talk, man? You hear that one? Oh, he walks the talk, man. You know, okay, if I'm going to sit here and pontificate about this global problem, right? What am I doing about it? What opportunities are going to arise for me, right? And like I said, I'm no saint. I'm no expert on anybody else's life. I got my path, and I got people that hold me responsible. I go, hey, man, you doing something to help out, or are you just like tooting that complaining horn? Like,
Bitching on Facebook?
huh?
Bitching about it on Facebook?
Well, what I mean is so how can I manifest thankfulness for my circumstances by being of service to others whose circumstances are more challenged, right? What are my actions going to be? Can I face myself at the end of the day and say, okay, maybe I didn't take an action to help somebody today in these areas, but what can I do tomorrow? And then make a plan, pick up the pen and paper, write it down, hold myself accountable, have other people to hold me accountable, bookend, call a friend and say, you know what? I was on this podcast fetching about the world right now. I got to re-up my commitment to help Harold and Mary Finero with their Rwanda project. Harold Owens from Music Cares has got this side thing where he's actually building schools in Rwanda. He's putting water in Rwanda. He's trying to help, you know. People are helping Americans right now going, okay, let's help a city that's challenged, right? Not only politically to have an awareness, right? So that everyone is safe, that everyone can walk the streets safe. The three of us, we can walk out our door and not worry about the law, not worry about the cops, not worry about a predator. If any one of us was female of any ethnicity, we'd be maybe a little vigilant after dark. If any of us was a minority group member male in our age groups, we'd have to worry about it, right? Maybe getting some flack from the cops and stuff. Okay, so I'm talking about what can I do in my actions to improve that? And how can I be thankful for the opportunity to do that, right? And not project it onto anybody else and say, you should, you gotta, you better, because everybody's path is unique, right? So that's important too. You know, I gotta be accountable for doing stuff to help out, right? And then at the other side of it, I also gotta be self-caring. I gotta make sure that I take care of myself so that I don't feel anxiety, so that I don't, because these are anxious times, man. This is, you know, when they say what a long, strange trip it's been, yeah, what a long, strange trip it is. And no doubt what a long, strange trip it is going to be, right? Because we got ourselves in some shenanigans right now that we're paying for. We're paying for 2,500 years, right, of oppression in the West, right? We're paying for 350 years of colonial European white dudes like us fucking with 3 continents, right? Oppressing Asia, oppressing Africa, oppressing South America, oppressing the native populations in North America. We're paying for it now. It's time to pay up. It's time to, you know, balance this shit, make it work. None of us have to suffer necessarily, but we got to be aware. You know, you get some clever-minded 16th century European males together and they created a bunch of shit that we're going right now going like, uh-oh, this doesn't work, right? I can remember in the 70s, I'm long in the tooth, man. I'm probably older than your dad, Chris, because I know I'm older than Curtis's dad. But I remember in the 70s in Boston, there were people saying, we got to fix this stuff now, or it ain't going to be pretty in 2020, 2030. The world's going to be too hot. And everybody thought they were kind of talking out of their necks, kind of projecting weird stuff out. Look what we got going on. If I'm going to kvetch about this stuff, how can I be thankful for the fact that I have running water, air conditioning? Not only that, if I'm thankful for it, how can I demonstrate that gratitude by helping make this a better place? That basic First Peoples, Native American thing about how can I honor the site, right? And be thankful for doing, be excited about, be positive about it, instead of being burdened by the conundrum we've got ourselves in. Systemically, we're completely in a conundrum right now, right? On every level, we're in an inter-conundrum with the world around us, and we're in intra-conundrum within ourselves, right? So, okay, thank you for this conundrum. What can I do, right? Without being proselytizing and just talking about it. What actions can I take? What's my action plan to demonstrate gratitude out in the world? So that Curtis's kids, I don't have any kids, but I know Curtis's kids, so that Curtis's kids can have as cool a time as I had in the 70s. You know, and I hate to be retro, dude, but I'm sorry. You know, I had a lot of fun, right? You know, and I want everybody to have as much fun as I had back then. The 80s were blur and very dark. The 90s, things started kind of swinging around a little bit. But, you know, we gotta really take into consideration systemically the world too when we say I'm thankful. Okay, we're thankful, great. Now we screwed up. We consumed too much stuff. We made too much shit, right? We cut down too many trees. We shaved the earth's head and we heated the earth up. So you think Gaia, you think Mother Earth is just going to sit there and go, okay, you humans, you're cool. I can dig that. No, Gaia is one membrane that we're part of. We're the trees. We're the snails. We're all one entity. We're all literally one living organism, one interchange thing. And now we've become kind of like a pest. We've become like, we're the problem. There's too many of us. The earth is designed to support roughly 3 to 3.5 billion people, humans, at optimum efficiency. Anything past 3.5 billion stresses Gaia's efficiency. The system, right? Not only the ecosystem, but the psychic system, the energy, everything gets affected, okay? So we're at 7.5, man, right? I think last count. So we gotta be aware of this. We gotta start prepping ourselves and figuring it out, right? And being thankful that we're in a position, we are PWM, the three of us, we're privileged white males. We got the time, the energy, right? The easy road to hoe out in the world. You know, we can go out there and help. A lot of people are too busy just trying to get a bite to eat to think about this kind of stuff. So if I want to be thankful and go, oh, I'm happy, I'm thankful, I'm in gratitude. Cool, I'm thankful. Now, how can I manifest that and make the world a better place? What's my action plan?
Yeah. Well, I think that goes back to what we were saying about creating, I mean, if you're supporting people or you're helping like your friend with the water, you know, this not charity, but I mean, you're volunteering your time to a cause or to, you know, giving back kindness, showing kindness to people. And whatever that way is if you're kind to one person, you're kind to the world, you know. I think, again, and like we was talking before, when you show kindness, you're basically allowing the breath of gratitude to fill the room. And obviously, I can't make anybody grateful, and I would never try to, but I can express my gratitude. And at the same time, I am all about letting the air, I like to push that air of gratitude in the space that's around me, because because I'm selfish. It feels good, and it's always good. And I know that it matters. I know that it always matters, and nothing will change that.
That's benign selfishness, though. That's benign selfishness. That's why people in 12-step fellowships help other people, because they know it's helping themselves. That's why Mother Teresa knew she was doing that because she felt good. She's sitting in the squalor in India. She did that because she got off on it. And we're a reward-based species. I hear you, man, loud and clear. Like, for example, I have a friend that I want to copy this, right? I'm unalterably committed to copying this. It's in my shopping list. I got to go buy white socks. I like at least 80% cotton socks, ideally 100% cotton socks, right? My friend, every time he buys socks, he buys a second package of socks, and he gives them to homeless people. Because what if homeless people put on their wish list high up they want more socks. They need socks, man. So that's how he's gratitude and thankful and changing the room. You know, and it's an act of kindness. And I'm with you loud and clear. You know, I hear you. By being nice to people right here, right now, in the moment, it opens up all those other possibilities to help every other system. You're absolutely right. It's, what do you call it? The foundation, you know, that being kind, creating that feeling in the room. Then there's a cornerstone, then there's an arch with a capstone on top. You know, if you think about it like architecture, you got to have a strong foundation. So I'm digging that, man. You know, I hear you loud and clear.
We call those freshies on Fish Tour. That's what new clean socks are. Freshies. Freshies.
Fresh.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think that what Paul was touching on as far as like overpopulation and what's going on and whatever, it's like a direct result of people not being fucking grateful, man. Everyone wants more all the time. And I'm certainly guilty of it a lot. But like, every once in a while, it's like, you have everything you need. You have everything you need. Like, I have to like make that my mantra. And a friend of mine has it on her wall, and like, you know, over time I'll be like freaking out, and she just point at the wall, and it's something like a sloth or something, and it just says, you have everything you need. And you know, we just want more. And a couple years ago, one of my favorite bands, Arcade Fire, made an album called Everything Now, and it's just like about hyper consumerism and like wanting nothing's ever enough, you know. And if we can be present and grateful, we can, you know, we realize a lot of times that we do have what we need in any given moment. If you have your health and you know, you're breathing, and we really take a lot for granted. And it's really easy to start to rewire that part of our brain, like I was talking about earlier, with simple things like gratitude lists. And you know, for me, as like a recovering drug addict and alcoholic, and someone that kind of lives in my head sometimes, if I make a gratitude list, I'm like, oh, that wasn't a good enough gratitude list. I didn't put the right things on there, or, you know, it's not long enough, or, you know, I left this person out or this thing out, so now I'm an idiot. But it really doesn't have anything to do with that. It just has to do with getting in the mindset of gratitude. And you know, there's days when I'm like really practicing gratitude well and feeling really grateful. And dude, I feel high as shit. You know, it's like I'm like feel really, 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 really good if I am like in deep, deep gratitude. And it's really, you know, it always makes me feel good when I'm not in the best headspace, to know that that's like, again, like I said earlier, the quickest way to get back to it is like a quick gratitude list, or text somebody, you know, something you love about them, or whatever the case may be. Just gratitude. And there's a gentleman in mine and Paul's orbit that he'll know what I'm talking about. And he's like, the mantra is always be of service, always be of service, always be of service. And it's, you know, it's really a great approach to life, and it really opens doors for you. It helps other people. And what Paul is talking about, like, it is a little bit selfish, because I do know that if I'm practicing gratitude, or if I'm doing service work, like, I'm absolutely going to benefit from it. So it's all good, you know, like, it's good for the receiver, it's good for the giver, and it's a win-win situation, really. And I want to, you know, I'm super grateful for Paul. Paul has been my, you know, mentor, as I'll call him right now, since I was early in recovery. And you know, Paul, I tell you this all the time when we get off the phone, like, thank you for your time. Like, it's simple stuff like that, really. Like, when if you have a phone call with someone, if someone actually picks up the phone, and you have an actual phone call or a FaceTime or something, like, I really try to make it a practice, no matter like how short or how long it was, just to be like, I really, you know, thank you for your time. Because in this day and age, like, it's all texting, you know. If someone will actually give you a few minutes of their time with like face-to-face via FaceTime or Skype or whatever the case may be, or actually pick up the phone, it's a good practice for me to, you know, thank them for that time. And again, it all comes back to gratitude. And it's, Paul, thank you for all of your, you know, wisdom and guidance, and being there for me when I was still having auditory and visual hallucinations, when I was like 6 months sober. Like, I was still like leveling out, you know. When you and I talk about when we first started being friends and close, you were like, yeah, dude, you were still hallucinating. And this was when I was 6 months into it. So it was like a really, really long process for me with some of the delayed withdrawals from like pills, benzodiazepines, you know, meth-induced psychosis, cocaine-induced sleep disorder, all the things that were having these delayed effects. And, you know, Paul sat through that with me and like helped me understand that it wasn't going to last forever, hopefully, you know. And I am forever in debt to you and forever grateful that you were there for me and you continue to be there for me. You answer the phone when I call, you call me. It's really symbiotic and a beautiful thing. And it's just, you know, we all kind of help each other. And if we can avail ourselves to people that might be struggling or might be having a shitty day, or, you know, like I was talking about last week, if you have an intuitive thought that, oh man, like they did something for me, you know, 2 years ago, or I really enjoyed something they said, just reach out to someone, because you never know when it's like someone could be at like rock bottom or have a gun in their hand or whatever. And I don't say that lightly. And that's, it's the reality of a lot of interactions that I've had over the years, in the past, you know, 5.5 years, is people struggle and they need to know, and myself included, that people care. So if you can tell somebody you care about them, do it, because people die and you may never get another chance to, you know, tell them that you liked the shirt they had on yesterday, or tell them that their hair looked nice, or whatever small thing that you may think it is could be the difference in, you know, someone's day and change the way they look at things. So.
Well, thank you for your assessment, man, of our, you know, of our friendship and stuff. You know, you help me as much, if not more, than I help you. And that's for real. That's how this thing works. Chris is being of immense service to both of us right now by allowing us this platform and catalyzing this with his insights and his willingness to do this, you know. So you know, we sit here and we reflect on it. We go, God, we're talking about gratitude. We're thankful for all this stuff, you know, and thankful for this opportunity. And so many things will come to mind. We're maintaining the presence. I'm very fascinated by the fact that none of us have interrupted one another. And I'm thankful for that. And I'm interested in Chris's take on the last couple of, you know, subjects we've bandied about.
Oh, thanks, Paul. You know, I was getting, the great thing is, I love what you said, Paul, and then I really love how Curtis' attitude. I think the fact he said his friend had a thing on the wall that said, "I have enough." Like, you know, I think obviously if we could make that all our mantra, that would help the planet immensely. I think that's a brilliant mantra. I think that's a grateful mantra. And to flip that, not flip it, but almost in the same vein, you know, I was talking to a really great guy yesterday, and I asked him who he was grateful for, and he said he was grateful for himself. And I know I've talked about this with Curtis, you know, and I've heard this before, and it's great, because the idea is that if you were grateful for yourself, it's like you're saying, I am enough. You know, you know what I mean? I love myself. I don't need, I am enough. You know, that's the idea. It's like, I am enough. I don't need a fancy car. I don't need $1 million. I don't have to be on a beach. You know what I mean? I don't need any of those things. Just like saying, I have enough. It's like saying, I am enough. I have enough. You know, I think it's a powerful mental grateful state to be sitting in, basically saying, I'm enough. I love myself. And therefore, when we're in that state, then we can be present and love other people, and we can be kind. We can open those doors, and the world just becomes a better place, you know, and for all, obviously here outward. So I love that idea of this saying that I have enough, you know, the idea of this, I don't need, you know, that whole lack, that idea of taking away the lack, the things that, you know, that unfortunately society, and you grow up and it's always like, you're always missing something. Like you were saying, it's like, I want something, it's in the future, or I'm missing something, it's in the past, or, you know, it's, I've been thinking a lot about that too, just the present, and how the future is just an idea. And when we get there, it's the present. But if we live in the future, we're not in the present, you know, it's just an idea, right? The past is an idea too. It's gone. You can't go back to the past. But if you're thinking of the past while you're in the present, you're not in the present. You know, it's what allows us to be present, because when we're present, like in this moment, we can connect with people, we can be open to ideas, we can share good thoughts, and, you know, pulsate, you know, it's just good. It's good for all of us. So that's what I love the tag team of your idea about how can we as grateful people help, you know, the global us. And I think the idea of just the statement of going, I have enough, if we could make that a mantra in the morning, if that was just something you read on your wall, right? So I love that, right? What statements can we make in the morning, right? What can we write? You know, really, I have enough. I mean, that's a grateful statement. What a powerful idea. What a great idea to start with, right? Because at least it's just like saying, what are you grateful for? I'm alive, right? If you could start, honestly, my friend pointed out, was like, if you can start your day by literally just saying, I'm grateful that I'm alive, you're going to have a good day. I mean, you're starting from that basis of the freaking your breath, you know, which is a gift and not a given, you know? So it's a beautiful thing. So that was my thoughts. I appreciate you allowing me to share that.
Sure. Another thing that comes to mind for me is you talked about the morning and how you start your day, creating the context, right? And Curtis saying, I am enough. Most of what, Curtis, I impart on you, you know this, it's oral history from some really, really people that are really committed to the well-being of others. There was a brilliant force in Southern California named Liz Lopresti. She was a chemical dependency counselor. She was a therapist. She was really big she was one of the first people to really tell people 6 words. It was part of her treatment program for you. If she was helping you get off drugs and alcohol, or if she was one of your mental health clients, she kept those 2 worlds separate, right? But she could blend them too, right? And she had 6 words. She used to go like this: as I am enough. And here we are, right? Echoing her and these basic voices of acceptance. And then your very simple and direct and very powerful insight about how do I start my day? Well, gosh, if I'm thankful that I woke up and I've got the time to acknowledge my gratitude, I don't have to hit the ground running and take care of a bunch of people's stuff, kids or anything in my morning is still my morning. I don't have to help a partner launch her day, right? I don't have to aid my 97-year-old father. He doesn't need my presence in the morning.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, I have my morning to me. So I love that you've helped me now, because in the morning I can just say, thank you for the time to feel this gratitude and express this gratitude and manifest it. So that's a really nice thing to touch on. And I really feel that everyone that is feeling anything that's adverse, right? A struggle, a challenge, frustration, hopelessness. So a lot of people don't feel that hopeful right now, right? They're beginning to see things as not having the outcome that they desire because of possibly they have to start projecting like in an appropriate way. You know, there's a saying, you know, be thankful that we found the oasis in the middle of the desert, but don't forget to tie your camels. You know, like here we are talking about gratitude and stuff, but you know, also we got to make sure that, you know, we prepare for uncertainties. We have to do our best, right, to equip ourselves to be well tomorrow, but not live in tomorrow. And in that spirit, a lot of people are starting to acknowledge that they may be facing some challenges and they want to prepare for that. Well, a really good way to do that is to be thankful for today and say, you know, I am thankful for, you know, whatever their cosmology is, you know, thankful, put that focus in the moment right here, right now, in the present. And it's okay to be hopeful for a better day tomorrow or a manageable day tomorrow. That's all. We just can't attach any expectations to it, right? We have to devoid ourselves, I guess. We in this, especially currently, you know, everybody's lives are so challenged with unpredictability too, right? We used to have you could make a pretty solid plan for a month, 2 months, right? Mm-hmm. Christmas, holidays, you can start planning for that. It's kind of not that way right now. You know, we have to be really cognizant of just being okay right here, right now. And then another one that Liz used to say is expect nothing and everything comes as a pleasant surprise, which is a Buddhist altruism. That's been around for thousands of years, I'm sure. And, but I really like that I am enough thing that your friend put on the wall, Curtis. That's cool, man. Hey, it's coming.
I have everything I need, is what it is.
Everything I need. Guys, it's coming right up at 6 p.m. I got a bolt. Is that okay?
Oh yeah, you go ahead and Curtis, I'll chat a little more. Paul, thank you so much, man. I hope to talk with you again sometime. It's been really a really special time. Thank you.
Oh, for me too. Thanks for this opportunity. And I'll talk to both you guys later. Peace out. I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul.
Okay. See you, man.
Yeah, I think to Paul's point, it's just like attaching outcomes to situations is like never really a
dangerous, brother. It's dangerous.
Yeah, it's just like creates room for resentment, and I always talk about that to people. It's like just try not to attach outcomes. Like be present. As soon as you start attaching outcomes to things, that's when like resentment comes in. And in my world, they say resentment is the #1 offender, and it's slippery slope from there as far as like my recovery world. But yeah, man, this was great. Paul's awesome. He is a cosmic dude.
Yeah, there's a lot of. It's great you brought him in, and obviously I'm happy he's a lot older than us. He brings a whole other perspective, and you know what I mean. You and I are different, obviously, but then we got that dynamic going on, and we're all in the same room. And but I wanted to speak real. I know we're about time here, but I wanted to go back what you were saying there at the end, because this last week I actually had a big discussion about outcomes and stuff like that. Because my story, and even in my gratitude practice and like with everything I was doing, years back, I had such an idea in my head. I put all my I believed so heartedly in this idea of something that I wanted to create. I wanted to happen, this outcome, right? That I basically, I stepped in the fire with it. And, when you do that, one or two things happens. Either you end up hitting it out of the park, or bottom line is you have to start your life over, which I think swings with sobriety too, obviously. But I'll tell you, even in that time, and I'm grateful it all happened, because I'm where I'm at and I can appreciate it. And I know that I learned a lot. But in the same sense, it taught me a really tough lesson. And that lesson was, basically you have ideas about what you want to do, what you want to build. And I think that's great. I think it's great. I think people should do that, but don't bet your life on those outcomes. Don't put everything into it. And I like this, my mentor, Bobby, had a great statement, which I love sharing, which is, when you get to that moment, and you can make a statement and say, it's this or it's something better. And that allows you, if you can be in the moment when you feel like you're defeated because you didn't get what you wanted, you can pivot you literally can pivot your head and look at it as a different situation. So I just want to say that, because I think it's important it's just an important lesson that I learned. And if I can assist anybody in that mindset, I all day long, I would like to share that,
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's been great, man. Thanks for round 2 here. It's been great. We'll do it again soon, and more people coming in, and more gratitude, more ideas, and more sharing. And so thanks again, Curtis. Don't get off again. I want to talk to you when we get off here, but I'll go ahead and close this out, unless you'd like to say anything else before I shut it down.
No, just thanks for continuing to stay on top of this and move forward with it, and push me to move forward with it. It's really cool, and it's really, I think it can reach people, and I think that, I'm excited. I think that it's going to be really good all around. So thank you. I appreciate you, man.
Oh, you're welcome, man. And just let everybody know, we're going to continually doing this. It's going to be, changing, and more people are going to come in. And if you've got Curtis, or me, and you got a story you want to share, we'd love to hear it. And that may be just talking to us, or it could be if you want to come on the podcast. There's we're here, and I know Curtis loves it. I know I love it. We just want to be able to talk to people, connect with people, share, and encourage gratitude in the world, which all that can happen with what we're talking about. And it does happen. So everybody have a great weekend. Okay. And we'll be seeing you next week. Just look out for some posts. Okay. So I'm Chris with Curtis, just reminding you guys to stay grateful, and we are out.
Later, guys.